Hello everyone, welcome to History Forge. My name is Taylor Hamblin. I'm going to be showing how I organize my students' theses today and just kind of showing off a lot of the different online tools I use in order to do that. Most of the tools will be Google Drive related, so Google Sheets, Google Docs, and then there's one PDF I'll show too. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. As you can see, all this different stuff here, looking at it, you guys can see where the student names should be. I blacked them out just so I can keep my students' identity secret because they are superheroes. But no, I do put the student names there, and then what they'll do is they actually have to choose a student to read. I'll show you what a doc looks like if it loads. Yep, this is a real doc. This is one of my real students, and this is something that they did. So my directions are up here. They changed all the colors for some reason. But what I do is I create these Google Docs for them, and they are then able to copy them. So I share the link, and I say go ahead and hit File, make a copy, like I'm doing right now. So I'll go down to File, and then make a copy, as you can see right here. That automatically creates a copy of whatever it is. And so I tell them to do that, and then they have to share it with me. So if you're ever curious how you students can share anything, this big blue button right here on the right says Share. You click on that, it'll go right to it, and that's how you do it. So that's how you share. Going into this, once they share it with me, I actually put it in here in column E, and this is all my projects, all my students' projects. So you can kind of see here the links. So these are all the different projects we have, and on top of that, I write project number just to keep it organized. I have a name for their project, and then I have a category. So this is the kind of project they're doing. As you can see, we have quite a few different ones. I think we have around over 50 for sure. Yeah, we have 52 projects, and then these two are 94, 95. I do this with another teacher, so that's why these are different numbers. But that's kind of the base. That's how we keep it organized. And then what I do is, after I've filled in all this information, after I've copy and pasted all these links into here, I share this sheet with my students. So if I go in here and hit Share, you go into Advanced. And none of my students are specifically shared this document. But what I do is I go into Change right here, and I make sure that it says anyone with the link. And right here you see where it says Can Comment. You make sure to click on that, hit Save. Now all my students have this, and they're able to click on these links once I share that link with them. You can do that on Google Classroom. You can just post it on, like if you have a team website, you can post it. That's what I tend to do. But that way the kids always will have these links, and they can easily grab onto them. So that's what we do. And then the students are expected just to kind of go into and actually edit each other's theses. So the way I organize that in the classroom is we do it over a couple days, and it's kind of like a 25, 30-minute activity each day, and then we do something else like a bell ringer or something. For the kids, it's every kid's a little bit different, but I try to tell the kids at least do one. Some of my kids do two. The kids that are like really far ahead or can handle extra assignments, I'll ask them to do two for me just to help out. And my goal is to have every student give me 2 edits. Or I'm sorry, I want all the projects to receive 2 edits. So that's why there's a F column and a G column right here. This is peer proofreading. So you can't see the names right now because I blocked them out, but this entire column F, all those are done. Like all of those, like all these projects have been read by one person and edited. And then around my 4th and 5th period, I need a second row, and so I had those kids do it a second time. And so there's a lot of editing going on. It's just a lot of good time to get the students to look at what a thesis is. And I do grade this too. I tell the kids that I am grading their ability to tell me whether somebody had a good thesis or not, and then their ability to give them good assessment. So that's the basics of it. It takes about half an hour again for a couple days just to get everything organized and get the students rolling on it. All my students really do pretty well on it. And I'll walk around during this time. I'll share this, and I tell kids to get onto a doc. They tell me, one thing is you have to physically write the name. So, for example, if a student said, hey, I want to do project 2, I literally have to type in a name. So just Bob Meyer, make up a name. I have to do that, otherwise it doesn't work. So that way this student knows, like, this is my project, and all other students, then I would say, hey, you can't pick this one because Bob Meyer's doing it, okay? So that's how that works. I also shared this with my students. It's called Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I think I found it from Minnesota History Day. It looks like a Minnesota History Day thing. It's just going over thesis development. There's 5 columns here: Susan B. Anthony, Martin Luther, chemical warfare. I tell kids on the first day that they need to go through this thing. It says needs improvement. And I tell them, and I'll see if I can zoom in. There we go. I tell the students that they need to go through and just double check and make sure their theses look better than these. And if, like, you know, if they mess up, so for example here, this thesis needs improvement because it's a question, it's not an answer. And so I have kids who've done that, and this is just, you know, some bullet points that kind of help those kids, you know, self-assess, and then I ask my peer assessors to go do the same thing. So by the end, the kids have been assessed 3 times, once themselves and then 2 times by other kids. So it's really good just because they get to see what a good thesis looks like compared to a poor one. You know, I give them chances to work on it. And really, this is kind of our way we do it. Like, again, it's just a couple days, and I told the kids, like, I want you to be here. If you think you're here, if you think you're good, you need to use these bullet points and explain to me why you think your thesis is at this point. You know, I have 100 students currently, and I would say about 90% of them can just handle this by themselves. They'll be able to come up with a decent, good thesis. There's always room for improvement, obviously, but for the most part, they get here. The other 10%, about 10 students, I do need to work with closer, and I do need to be like, no, it's not quite, you're not getting it, or you're being lazy, or here, let me kind of reward this in a different way. Even with all the feedback they receive, it's just, you know, it goes over their head, or they just don't want to do it. So, you know, not a magic pill, obviously, for every kid, but, you know, I think 90% is pretty good for developing a thesis. I think a lot of kids struggle with this stuff. So showing them all these different examples, giving them the chance to work on it, giving them a chance to get edited, and then, you know, each time they get edited, I encourage them to fix it, and that's part of their grade too. But that's kind of mostly how we do it. So again, you know, in this video description, I will post all this stuff. I can't post this part because it has my students' names on it, and I can't have people look at that. But if you want to copy down, like, you know, all this stuff on the top, feel free. That's how I do it. And it just kind of is a good way to organize things. And this is for our big year-long project, so you don't have to copy it. I'm sorry, you don't have to do a big year-long project. This would work for even like a week-long assignment, I think. Or if like kids were peer editing just entire essays, I think this could be a really easy and fun way for them to do it. And it's a way to keep it organized, make sure everyone gets assessed. So that's it. I don't think there's anything else I need to show you. Yep, I showed you that. Actually, there is one thing. So one final thing that's really important. Kids cannot assess each other unless you do something. And I'm going to show you real quick on this. So say you have a Google Doc, like say you have like something like this. You have to do this with them. And I can't show you on this one because it would show you the students' names. I'm going to show you on this instead, okay? So pretend like the sheet I'm currently on is a Google Doc that the kids have worked on. I'm going to move my banner so you can kind of see what I'm doing. There we go. So I'm going to click this share button right here, right there. So I click it. There we go. And then what I do is I hit advanced. And now you have some options. You see where it says anyone who has the link and comment. I hit change. Make sure it says anyone with the link because that's how you're going to share it. So anyone with the link. And then once you mark this middle one, you go down here where it says access, anyone, no sign in required. Click on that. Do not give students editing power because they're looking at somebody else's work. You don't want a student being able to delete somebody else's work or make a mistake. Only give them commenting power. That means kids can only comment on each other's work and they won't actually be able to change anything. You can't viewing power won't give them anything other than viewing. Like they can't comment, they won't be able to do anything. So if you wanted to do this and have the kids maybe write out their comments, you could do it that way. But I find it's pretty good for the online commenting. That way kids get the feedback right away. So that's how I do it. So you hit save, and then this link right here that I'm hovering over, you hit copy, and then that's what you dump into these. Okay. You know, I mess up like probably once every year, where one student I forget to do it, and so yeah, kid tells me like, "Hey, my thing has no comments." I have to go fix it. Just make sure you are doing that. You know, if you have any questions, feel free to comment on this video. If you want to message me on Facebook, I do have a Facebook, and feel free to message me on that too. But yeah, no, it's how I organize Thesis, and so definitely check it out. If you have questions, feel free to let me know, and you guys take care. Bye.